Hello and welcome back to Azure Terraformer. This is part 4 of my Azure Functions GitHub actions, lots of functions series where we are building a CI/CD pipeline for an Azure function. Last episode we built a CI pipeline that built and ran some XUnit tests that we added to our solution. This time we are going to expand our existing CD pipeline to build an artifact and then publish that artifact to our Azure function. If you're enjoying this series, please smash that like button and consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel and I appreciate it a lot. Without further ado, let's get going. So here is my solution. Again, if you recall, my CD pipeline basically just runs Terraform and provisions all the things. That's pretty much it. And my CI pipeline right here is just doing a .NET restore, a .NET build, and a .NET test. So we need to publish an artifact that we can then deploy after Terraform is done running. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to grab this build step and I'm going to plunk it down into my CD pipeline. So I'm going to add an additional job. So we're going to have build and then we're going to have run. Now, one thing that I should probably do is I do not have a .NET version here in the environment, so I probably need to set that up. Now, one thing that I already have a conflict is my .NET code is in a different working directory than my Terraform code. So I need to modify this to be a little bit different. So I have a Terraform working directory, and then I need to have like a .NET working directory. So I need to know the place where my .NET code is going to execute versus where my Terraform code is going to be executed. And so I'm just going to say source.net, and it's going to be in my GitHub crawler solution folder. Now I need to make some updates. So if I just collapse, if I go look at Terraform, anywhere I have a working directory, I need to make sure that it's been updated to the Terraform working directory. Looks like there's only just one spot for that. And then my .NET working directory, I need to update in a few places. So after I'm finished testing, what I need to do is I need to actually publish my code. So I'm going to use another .NET command. It's going to be called .NET publish. And .NET publish basically will allow me to create the artifact that I'm going to deploy. .NET publish is going to get my Azure Terraform code and get it ready to be packaged up. So what I'm going to do here is using the Azure Function project, which is going to be my GitHub crawler, .csproj, and then using a few flags to target a specific configuration, and then I'm going to push it to an output directory called publish. So this is going to push all the contents. It's going to remove all the symbols and things like that that I don't want to be included in production code, and it's going to dump it into a folder called publish. So now what I need to do is I basically need to zip this up. So I'm going to add a new task here called generate deployment package. And with this task, I'm just going to run a script. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go zip recursive, and we're going to go from up one directory. I want to create this zip file, and the folder that I want to zip recursively is my current working directory. Now, in order for this to work, I need to set the working directory to be a little bit different. Oh, and I also need the working directory set on my publish command as well. Otherwise, that just won't work at all. Now, in order to zip up the contents that I published, I of course recall that from the current .NET working directory, I created a publish directory inside of there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very sneakily set my working directory to my publish directory, which will be the // when I run this script. And I'm going to create this deployment zip in a folder up, which will actually be in the .NET working directory. So I'm kind of dancing around a little bit to get the file into the location that I want. So now that the file has been zipped up, now I need to upload this package to GitHub Actions so that it can be referenced from other jobs. So we're going to do this. We're going to say upload deployment package. So there we go. So this is going to create a new artifact called function deployment. I'm only doing one function, so I can get away with this. If I were to do a whole bunch of functions that I wanted to deploy in this single pipeline, I would probably have to name this a little bit more specifically. But for right now, I'm pretty good. So let's go check that. Now, I think my actions are triggering off my pull request, which, oh, actually it's just doing a CI pipeline. So the CD pipeline, yeah, I didn't think I triggered it off a pull request. So this is, yeah, you can see here it's only on push to the main branch, which is good. I mean, this is what I want. So here I've got my pull request that's open. It's gonna do a build, and I probably don't need to have the push. I should probably just do it on the pull request for the CI trigger. But basically all this is passed, so I'm gonna merge this pull request, and it's gonna go into the main branch. So now that it's in the main branch, we're gonna see the CD pipeline get triggered and the CI pipeline. The CI pipeline doesn't make a whole lot of sense to be triggered off push, so I could probably just go update that. It's probably going to cause my CD pipeline to trigger again, but that's okay. My CD pipeline, oh, it's currently running Terraform. Now, it really should have nothing to do inside this Terraform. But we might run into a state conflict if we're trying to access the state from both of my GitHub actions. So yeah, and you can see there the Terraform apply failed here, no doubt, because there's a lock. Yeah, there's a lock on my Terraform state from the other GitHub action that was executing here. Now, I'm not getting a lot of information out of this, so I'm not sure why this is taking 2 minutes, but I can't open this up to see what's going on, so I guess I just have to be patient. Kind of losing faith that this is working, so I'm going to cancel. Let's go check the state file to see if the state file has been borked. So this is, no, that's production state. Let's go look at development state. So what is it called? I think, unfortunately, it's called this. Oh, was there a lease? I didn't even look. Yeah, there is a lease. So let me, okay, so that's canceled. That's canceled completely. So let me break the lease. Okay. And I'm going to rerun failed steps over here. So rerun jobs, rerun failed jobs. Yes, rerun. There we go. Now I can see inside of it. I wonder if it got stalled. So it looks like there's a little bit of churn here. It looks like there's a site config setting called application insights key that I didn't set because you know, I left it blank, but it was populated somehow, some magical way. So maybe I need to go check check why this is happening. So there's maybe there's a top site config setting right there. Yeah. So for Linux function apps, it looks like this is the way to go. So I need to update my Terraform to do that. And that's I think that's just in the site config. That's a top level attribute in the site config where I set the instrumentation key. Now I set it down here in the app settings. I may not even need to do that. Because looking at my pipeline, it looked like there was some additional churn, like I'm adding it back like it was never added there. So I'm wondering if I'm kind of this is a great example of like where you kind of realize you're going against the grain of the managed service, and it's kind of doing some things behind the scenes where it's like, oh, you did a stupid, let me help you fix that, right? But your Terraform code is still broken, or it's still doing the dumb thing, and the provider, the underlying REST API behind the provider is going to be continually fixing it for you. This creates unnecessary churn. So it's definitely a good idea to look out for that and just eliminate that. So in this case, I think I may just have to go into that, and we should be good to go. Now there is this other thing called connection string. So I don't know. Let's see if this is referenced in the documentation, if they want me to use the connection string or if they want me to use, okay, here we go. So it wants me to use the connection string and the insights key. Okay, so let's go check our app insights and see if we can get a connection string out of this thing. That might be nice. Yeah, we do. We have a connection string. Wonderful. I think I know how to spell connection string. So let's go update this as well. And we'll just say application insights connection string, and we'll say Azure RM app insights connection string. And IntelliSense kind of did it for me anyway. So whatever. So there we go. So we made a little bit of a fix to our app insights configuration. We got our artifact building. Let's go look at the build. Okay. So this succeeded. If I go to my CD process here, you can see one artifact is there, and I can download this thing and I can go look at it. Right. So that's another interesting thing. You can go see what's inside of this, and I've got this deployment zip here. And I've got my host.json, my function name with a function.json inside of it, and then a bunch of DLLs and stuff, right? So that's the basic anatomy of an Azure function. So something to be aware of for sure. Now, I know my artifact is there. I know Terraform apply is going to run. Let me while I'm doing this update, let me just push this app insights fix. Okay, now what I need to do is in my CD pipeline, I want to add another step. So inside here, after Terraform, right, I want to have another step or another job, and we're going to call it deploy. It's kind of hard to have a CD process without a deployment step. Am I right? So in my deploy, what I'm going to be doing is, first I need to go download the artifact. So uses, why do I keep saying users? Actions. And then the next thing that I want to do is I want to actually deploy that using an Azure CLI command. So what I'm going to do here is I need to set up a little bit of the environment so that I have all the things that I need. And a lot of these settings are all already nice and set up for me on the Terraform. Basically, I need an Azure credential, right? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Azure CLI. I'm going to log in, and I'm going to do some stuff. Now, I need a few other things. So I need the resource group that I'm targeting. I'm just going to call it foo for the time being. And then I need the function app name that I'm targeting as well. Okay. And then the script that I need to run, yes, it is fun, but no, that's not how you do this. I need to do an AZ login, and I'm going to log in with a service principal, and the parameters for that, first I need the ARM client ID, and then I need the ARM client secret, and then last I need to specify the tenant, which is going to be the ARM tenant ID. And because I don't really want to broadcast this out on the open internets, I'm just gonna put output none, and that should be happy. Now I do want to do AZ account set for my subscription, and I'm going to set my subscription ID there as well, and use this output none to make sure it does it pretty quietly. Now the next step that I need to do is AZ function app deployment source config zip, and I need to use the resource group name, and then I need to use the function name, and then the deployment source is going to be where my deployment file is. And I believe when I download that artifact, it's just going to dump it into whatever the current working directory is. And because I'm not overriding the working directory, it should be wherever the current working directory that I execute here. Now, the big elephant in the room is I need the resource group and I need the function app. Now, in order to get that, I have to output some things from Terraform over here, right? So to output variables in GitHub Actions, it's a little bit tricky. You have to do some kind of wonkiness, kind of like you do in Azure DevOps. But basically, the first thing that I want to do is I just want to say create a local variable for it, and I'm going to set it to the output, the Terraform output of my resource group name output. Now I need to make sure I actually have an output for resource group name output, so that would be kind of important. Output resource group name value equals foo, and of course I need to set the value correctly because that would be stupid. Okay, and then the next thing that I need is my function app, and I think I'll just leave this simple and call it function name. And to get my function name, I'm going to go get my Linux function app, and I guess it's called foo. It is called foo, so it is the foo function, which is not super exciting, but it works. So now I know that this output is there. I can grab it from Terraform. I'm just gonna go echo this value so that I can see it and just make sure that I'm happy with it. And then now here's where the fun begins, right? So in GitHub Actions, the way this works is you have to have an output value. Okay, this is actually gonna be what my GitHub Actions output variable name is going to be. Its value is going to be this local, see I'm using $ to reference resource group name. So I'm referencing my local bash variable resource group name of the same name. It gets a little captain redundant here. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cat this to this GitHub output special variable here to save it to that location. Now the other step that I need to do is this output variable has to be declared way up here which is a little bit jarring, right? But I need to set my resource group name as an output. I need to set the resource group names on this job so that it can be accessed from other jobs. And so because I've just created the output at the step level, now I need to reference that step in order to get the thing. So in order to reference the step, I'm going to go steps dot, and I did it from, I think, I need to make sure my step has an ID, otherwise I won't be able to reference it. So I'll call this, what, apply. And then now my step is called the apply step. So I can go apply.outputs, and then it'll be resource group name. And so now I'm able to pipe the resource group name to my next job, but I have to connect my next job so that it knows where to get that thing from. And so I also need to declare the dependency between my deploy and the other jobs. So the most important thing that that my needs are, well, first of all, I need my Terraform build. I think I just call it Terraform, and then I need build. So I need Terraform to run, and I need the build to run, and that should be what I need in order to, create that dependency between the jobs. Now to reference the job, down here is where I can reference that output variable, and I'm just going to go, I don't know why I keep doing double dollar, but I'm going to say needs, and I'm going to say Terraform, I'm going to say outputs, and resource group name. And so basically this is connecting me to my jobs outputs, which are declared right here. And then what's connecting my jobs outputs to my step outputs is this apply, and then this resource group name, which is then later used down here in this line right here. So now I just need to do this whole process 2 times for my function name. And I need to double check all the things that the function name, yeah, it's just called function name. Okay. So I've got function name, function name, function name, everything's function name. I need to declare the output for function name, and I need to grab that, reference the step. Of course, it's still called function name. We should be good. And then now down here, I've already declared my needs, so I can go here and I can call this function name. Now I kind of did a little bit of a bad thing. I called it function app name just to keep things consistent. I'll just rename that function name and make sure everything ticks and ties. That's it. So I think my CD pipeline is good to go. I got my zip file, deployment.zip, which I'm downloading using this function deployment artifact. And then I got the 2 outputs that I need from the previous job, which literally, I don't know what those things are until Terraform has finished its apply, right? So these are absolutely important things. Now, could you hard code those? Yes, but why would you want to? Use Terraform, run apply, get the outputs, pipe them in. If anything ever changes, you're at least piping those values, right? And so this creates a contract between the deployment step and the infrastructure apply step, which is a good thing. So finish CD, hope it works. Let's go. So let's watch the deployment and hope everything works. Terraform completed. Let's go interrogate this a little bit. So those are our 2 outputs, and looks like those values are coming out. So those are those 2 echo commands. So feeling good about this. The build succeeded. Let's go look at deploy. Let's see if we get the values that we want. Yeah, we got our resource group and we got our function. So this is looking pretty healthy. Let's see if we can get a confirmation from the Azure CLI that's doing this zip deploy, and see if everything's hunky-dory. The artifact download was successful, so Yeah, there we go. Okay, so looks everything looks happy. Let's go check this out in the portal, see what happened, and see if we can see our deployment out there. So az dev, let's go to our function. Now I have noticed this. They changed the layout of the portal, and the functions appear to show up, under this tab here. There used to be a special like slice or whatever you call it that you would go to in order to access your functions, but now it's just underneath, this tab, and I haven't really seen them load very successfully here. So that's very kind of disappointing. I got .NET 6. It looks like Application Insights is set up, but I can't see my function. So I'm not sure what's going on here, because I can't access the code and test portion of my Azure Function. So that's a little bit frustrating. My function is up and running. And there's no path being set. Maybe I should add a route. So it'll be a get operation. Now, I do need authorization level of function, right? Maybe I turn off the authorization. I think it's not none, but it's anonymous. Probably get a build error. Oh, and my CD pipeline is not triggering. I wonder if my CD pipeline is not set up to trigger based off of code changes to .NET. That looks like it might be a problem. There we go. And so I'm hitting it. I built this string by simply taking the function URL. So if I go grab the function URL, and then I put API, and then I put the route that I set, and then I set the code to the function app. Of course, I probably don't need that because I did change this to be, anonymous. So even anonymous is working now. And I can pass in a query string of name, and I'll call it Mark, and there we go. Hello, Mark. This HTTP triggered function executed successfully. Now, what I don't understand is why the function doesn't load in the portal. I don't know why, but the function's up there and running. Now, the downside of this is there are some nice things that you can do in the portal that that kind of help you figure out how to do the Postman. Because if you don't know how to construct this, and especially if you didn't know how to go specify the code, and then go grab like an app key and use that for function authentication, you would have problems, right? It would be very difficult for you to figure out how to get this thing to work. I'm not sure if this is like a bug in the new UI experience or if it's something just with Linux function apps. Let me know in the comments below if you've experienced this. Maybe this is a .NET 6 thing. I don't know. But it's definitely something that I plan on opening a ticket, a support ticket for, to figure out why do my functions not show up in the portal. Anyways, that's it for today. We got a fully working CI/CD pipeline. Our function, our HTTP trigger function works perfectly. Just doesn't show up in the portal for some strange reason. That's where we're at. Next time, I'm going to be digging into some of the C# code, adding some dependency injection, doing some app insights on some future episodes. Our goal is going to be to kind of make the function code look a little nicer, make it a little bit testable, add observability, and really show you what a very robust Azure Function development environment looks like, as well as solution structure. So if you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and consider subscribing. It really helps out a lot. And get ready for some C# in upcoming videos. We are going to be jamming in Visual Studio. probably on my Mac, and we are going to be leveraging this CD pipeline to quickly publish and test our Azure function out there in production. So until next time, this is the Azure Terraformer signing off.